I could have beaten Muhammad Ali. Before I start this presentation, you can correspond with me at 3-664 Portland Street, number 207, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, B2W6D4. The reason, you might say to yourself, that's kind of a wild, crazy title. I know, even though I'm a Cape Bretoner, or I'm not from the Waterford of the Bay, I wouldn't get, even if I was, I wouldn't get in the ring with Muhammad Ali. But the reason I did this is to have a little bit of, I don't know, but I'm sitting here thinking, it's got to do with this positive faith stuff. You know, this positive, which is very dangerous. It sounds biblical. Well, the devil sounds biblical. The devil's very cagey. He don't come out against Christ. He confuses people. That's his whole object, and to take them away from Christ. And it's about, 14, 15 years ago since I started preaching on the street. When I first started going down the street and going over to Down Spring Garden, the message I used to hear was, "It's a great job, Jack. This is the best thing you can do. It's wonderful, but you're not good enough." See how clever the devil is? You'll be able to do it someday, but not today. And I used to wonder with this. I thought, gee, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But the problem there is, no one's good enough. One of my favorite lines in the Bible is Corinthians, where it says, God places heavenly treasures in earthly vessels. The gospel is a heavenly treasure. There's nothing beyond the gospel. There's nothing more precious than the gospel of Jesus Christ. Nothing more precious than the gospel of Jesus Christ, the simple gospel. But it becomes distorted. These guys, the whole message there is this positive thinking. It's a mixed bag. It's good to think positive, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be going around, and it does well too. It says a happy heart is like medicine. It's a proverb in the Bible. But the thing is, it's carried so to the extent where it's dangerous, where it's unbiblical, and it's going to drag people, I believe, down to hell with them. You know, I could sit around 3 months telling myself, I can beat Ali, I can beat Muhammad, I can beat Muhammad Ali, I can beat him. And you know something, guess what? I'm not going to beat him. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. What a tremendous personality. It's so sad when I think about him dying. He's only 74, considered I'm going on 73. And I find boxing's been awful dull when he left. Oh, jumping to the stairs, say it's not the same. He's the most colorful personality, great entertainer, phenomenal. And you look back, but anyway, I could spend 3 years telling myself, I can beat him. And guess what? Don't be surprised if I can't beat him. I wouldn't, as dumb as I am, I'm not getting in the ring with him. I'm sorry, goodbye. But that's what this faith is. You know, you could be godlike. You follow the same God's laws as God. God's subjected to his own laws. Can you imagine? God, he applies his laws. And Kenneth Copeland said, if you know what Jesus knew, God told Kenneth, if you know what Jesus knew, if you had Jesus' knowledge, you went to the cross. Give me a break. Tell me that foolishness? That is so far beyond. You could have went to the cross. I'm sorry. Nobody could have went to that cross but Jesus Christ. That's not coming from God. The idea that there's a war going on in hell for our salvation, that it was done at the cross over 2,000 years ago. That's where Jesus won the victory for us, over the cross. And this idea, you just got to have that faith in faith. I got confused about that myself for years. I couldn't understand this. Faith in faith. And the thing is, the miracles are supposed to be happening all the time, these miracles. And if you believe in Jesus, you believe in God, the miracles is all miracles and miracles. You get mansions and miracles. And there's a Christian writer years ago wrote a book called Toxic Faith. And I couldn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me. Now I understand. I'm a slow learner, as the old native guy told me. But the whole thing is that you faith in faith. And so what happens is, when the miracles don't come, nah, I don't want this Christianity. It's not for me. No miracles, no. And then Dostoevsky, the great Russian writer, said, Jesus should have went along with Satan. When Satan said to him in Luke, turn the stones into bread. Jesus responded and said, Mark 4:4, man does not live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of the mouth of God. Jesus wouldn't do it. And these guys are promising you can turn the stones into bread. Dostoevsky says his main point was that if Jesus went around turning stones into bread, if Jesus went around touching everybody, zap, 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 you're healed. You got no pains or aches. You're getting a Mercedes. You're going to be living in mansions, and the money's going to be falling down. You won't be able to carry it. Everybody wanted to become a Christian. Sign me up, yes. You got to be fooled. You imagine you're not going to bother getting a Mercedes. You don't want to live in a mansion. You don't want money coming down like crazy, barrels of it. Oh, I can't wait for this stuff. I believe Dostoevsky's right. The whole world would have been converted. It's not about that. What faith do you need? The faith that Abraham took his son up to Mount Moriah. The Lord had told him to sacrifice him. He's ready just to sacrifice his own son. And then there was a ram, or came out of the woods there, and he was to sacrifice that instead, or a goat, or whatever it was, I forget him. But anyway, that was the gist of it, that he didn't, at the end, God was just testing him, see if he had the faith to do it. He knew that, he had that much faith in God that he knew that if he sacrificed his son Abram for God, he would see his son someday. That's called faith. What faith is there? You get miracles all the time, faith. Oh, I got to trust God. I only got 100 million. I only got $1 billion like this, Mr. Copeland. Oh, I really trust God. Oh, no, I'm not serving Mammon. I'm serving God. This is the stuff. It's wickedness. Everything's serving Mammon. As D.L. Moody says, Christianity is not about money. It's not about gold mines, earthly gold mines. It's not about miracles, all that. It's about lost souls. It's about saving lost souls. That's what Christianity is about. But it just another case is with my uncle. This is 50-some years ago. I was up in Toronto, and my Uncle John, and what a checker player this guy was. Oh, could he ever play checkers? I played a game of checkers with him, and the game ends in a minute. He says, no, you don't. I move here, you move here, and you move here, there. And says, who won that, Uncle John? Oh, you did. So we have another. He says, I'll tell you what. I love the way he talks. I'll tell you what, Jack. You get the white this time. Well, what does that mean, Uncle John? You get first move. Oh, boy. I make soon to make move. No. I do move. Who won that, Uncle John? I did. Oh, that's wonderful. Then he says to me, now, Jack, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make you a ham sandwich and a cup of coffee if you play me a game for $20. Yeah, I bet you would. I guess you would. And I'm thinking, I could spend 10 years sitting down saying, I'm going to beat my Uncle John checkers. I'm going to beat my Uncle John checkers. I'm going to beat my Uncle John. I'm going to beat my Uncle John. And guess what? I'm not going to beat my Uncle John checkers. But it's funny. He used to say to me, Jack, you don't play the reputation. You play the board. Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure, Uncle John. So he was in Al Gardens one day. I'm not sure. I think he was in the 60s, and he used to play around with the gentleman like himself. And he'd go in there, and one day he goes in there, and he notices this young guy in there. He's about 32. He never saw him before. And he noticed when he started playing him, there's a crowd gathered around. He never had that before. So he was just going in there and beating everybody at checkers. And he noticed that, Jack, I had resistance. He never had resistance in his life. I noticed I had resistance this time. So I beat this man 2 out of 3. And he says to me, he says, "Sir, how often do you come in here?" "Oh, I come in occasionally." The guy says to me, he says, "You take me for a fool?" My uncle says, "I've never said that. Do you know who I am?" My uncle says, "I've never seen you in my life. I'm Hal Carr. I'm checker champion of Ontario." My uncle made him 2 or 3 games. But you see, so much for faith in faith. It's good to think positive. It's really good. But not to the point where you can do all this miraculous stuff. Like Dave Hunt says, it's not faith in faith. It's not faith in the faith that'll move mountains. We don't move mountains. We'll never move mountains. I'll never move a mountain. I don't know if anybody else will ever move a mountain. God moves the mountains. It's our faith in God. We put our trust in God no matter what happens, and we're tested. We go through trials. We go through all kinds of things we might not like. You see, I always say, no matter how bad it is today, when I've got Jesus, I've got hope. I don't know anybody in this world could have hope without Jesus Christ. There's no hope without Jesus Christ. On the worst day, I've got hope in Jesus. I've got hope in Jesus. He says, I am the life, the way, the truth. No one comes to the Father but through me, John 14:6. There's no other way. He says that, it was in John's, he says, I lay down my life. No, he says, how's it go? I can lay down my life. This commandment received my Father, and no one can take my life from me. Boy, that's a bold statement. You'd have to be either schizophrenic or God to make that statement. I can imagine if you're schizophrenic, there's bound to be some cuckoo that would shoot you. And there's nobody that killed God. Nobody. He didn't die by being killed. He didn't die by being mugged or beaten. He voluntarily gave up his life. He went to the cross for us. That's what he did, so that we place our faith in Jesus. This idea of, Marcello says, I'm God, I'm God, I'm God. Look in the mirror and you say you're God. And want me to tell you something? When I look in the mirror, I see Jack. I don't like what I see in the mirror. I'm half asleep and I'm half awake. And I'm getting older now. It takes me 2 hours to wake up. And I'm going over, I'm crippled. I'm going around with a cane. Boy, if you see me as God, we're in trouble. If I'm God, we're in trouble. We're lost. And I'll never see God when I look in that mirror. When I look in that mirror, I see Jack. As much as I wish I'd seen Elvis or I wish I'd seen God, but I don't. And I'll always see Jack. And there'll be more and more wrinkles the longer I live. And that's the way it goes. But it's always going to be Jack. I'll never see God. And this craziness. What's her name? Shirley MacLaine. She had a seminar for $400 a week and saying, say you're God, say you're God, say you're God. And you know what happened? The lights went out. And they couldn't put the lights back on. Boy, that's a problem with being God. It don't work. I'd have a better chance of playing Columbo. But it's, to say you're God. But we know what God says about this? It's very serious. The Church of God, Herbert Armstrong says, we're a family of gods, and had capital G. It don't matter if it's capital G or small g. When you start saying you're gods, Jeremiah, this verse says, all other gods they will perish. They're going to go to hell, is basically what it's saying. They're going to go to hell. Because he says, there's no other God beside me. I'm a jealous God, there's no other God. We'll never be God. And he says, it's that simple. I'll never be God. I don't want to be God. I love the idea of going to heaven. It's through Jesus Christ. There's only one Jesus, and there'll never be 1,000 or 100 or 1,000,000 Jesuses. There's only Jesus, the second person of the Trinity. There's God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, folks. And that's just the way it is.